And welcome to the DevSec 2022 podcast presented by Cisco. Here we are in the afternoon of day 2. Things are abuzz on the trade show floor. Business is being done. A lot of companies interacting with one another. Right now we have 100 students walking through. Big academic contingent went through to see what opportunities exist for them in this sector. And this is, in fact, the Workforce Development Day. So perfect that they're here right now. I can tell you right now, I'm excited to be in the next conversation. Joanna's been on the podcast before. In fact, this time last year, you had just arrived at Kinetic.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to catching up where you are now and how Kinetic is doing. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, so Joanna Davies, I'm the Vice President of Business Development at Kinetic Canada. Been with the company for a year and a half now. I know these guys from the Navy. I was a naval warfare officer for 30 years, then went into shipbuilding, and then with business development. So, since we last spoke, I've really found my ground in the company. But right off the bat with Kinetic, it was a really good easing into the company and my role because of my background working with the Army, Navy, Air Force, modeling and simulation experimentation, working in biowarfare defense, so working with DRDCs. So everything that we're doing, I was able to talk about, or, ready?
So, Joanna, you're saying you really found yourself at Kinetic this year, but go ahead.
So everything that I was doing prior to joining Kinetic really fed into what I'm doing now. So I was able to speak from a position of knowledge, and my network is quite extensive, not only in Canada but also in the UK, and knowing the naval and Air Force customers in Canada, and also how government procurement is done, and having led bid teams, and so as a business development professional in a new company, you want to really come with a lot in your arsenal. So I really found that it's been such a good company to join. My boss is fantastic. The people I work with, our senior leadership team in Medicine Hat, Ottawa, and Ashford, UK, because part of the company in Canada is Kinetic Target Systems at Ashford in Kent. So our senior leadership team is like a family. And that's rare to have a group that's moving forward together. We support each other. We're not afraid to we're like a family. In all respects. So it's been a great company to work for and with.
Yeah. Comfortable with each other, and therefore able to make decisions and things like that.
And to say the hard things to each other as well.
And also workplace development, which is the theme today.
That's so important to have that, and that allows your company maybe to move in places that a little quicker than everybody else, because you're not afraid to have those conversations, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell me what Kinetic is up to these days.
So in Canada, we have Kinetic Target Systems, and I won't talk too much about that because that's that's not what I'm focused on. Although there will be a lot of collaboration moving forward as we progress things, but what I'm doing is bringing test and evaluation and training and mission readiness from all our British pedigree. We the company was originally part of DERA, part of the MOD's DERA, that became two parts. One part is now DSTL, and the other part became Kinetic, and that was 21 years ago. So we've done a lot of work with relevant to us, the RAF, the RN. We were a key partner with the MOD on the test and evaluation of the F-35. So that has relevance over here in Canada. But also we had a significant contribution to the testing of the Type 26 at the Kinetic ranges. So for me, it's leveraging that expertise, leveraging the knowledge, creating and hiring people in Canada. We have a formal training program called Test and Evaluation Skills Development Program, where we hire Canadian engineers. We train them in the UK at the air, land, and maritime ranges in test and evaluation, and then they come back in our workforce and are part of our team here. So we're doing, we have a contract with Irving providing test and evaluation and land-based test capability expertise to Irving. So that's on CSE, which, as a former naval officer, it's great to be on this project.
It sounds like Kinetic has got quite a background.
Yes,
you have quite a background, and it's all coming together at the perfect time. And we're on the cusp of building great ships, and
Yes, absolutely.
So what else are you focused on?
So we're also working with the Air Force. We completed a air range modernization study. It was the Cold Lake Air Weapons Range study that provided the Air Force with the roadmap for the future, and also looking at OTIM, which is Operational Training Infrastructure Enterprise Modernization. A big part of continental defense, NORAD modernization. It's one of the Air Force's priorities. So we gave them the roadmap, and now that's also tied in with the F-35 procurement. Hopefully that will go through in December or so, and then we'll have the way ahead. I mean, it's still years off, but there's so many parts of the F-35. There's FACT, FLIT, the FFCP itself, and then everything around Cold Lake Air Weapons Range to modernize it for that generation fighter, and also to bring the Allies back to Cold Lake.
Wow. So you spoke a few minutes ago about the team and how fun it was to work there. And it does sound like an exciting place to be. Certainly lots of work on the horizon, years and years and years of work on the horizon. Are you looking for new team members?
Very good point, and we didn't even rehearse this. But I think most major defense companies are really not necessarily struggling, but there are a lot of challenges finding the resources that we need. I'm hiring in business development. We're also hiring in program management, engineers. So yes, Kinetic is definitely hiring. And the great thing about us is that we are bringing different things to Canada, but also we're a small, agile company. If you join us, you have the opportunity to join pretty much a startup, but with the backing of a very large company with 6,500 employees plus. And that was one of the draws for me in joining the company. I could help drive the strategy moving forward for growth in Canada. So, it's been very exciting.
You know what I love about this show? As you're talking about looking for people, students are walking.
Absolutely.
They're listening, paying attention.
There. And you have opportunities.
Yes, absolutely. And we love bringing young people in. As we talked about the last time, I love mentoring, and I had an extremely good role model in that. So, anytime I can talk to young people and women in defense, because there are some gaps in defense about diversity, and so anytime I can pass on my knowledge, especially to people in the Navy. We did have the WIDS speed mentoring a couple nights ago, and there was one person I talked to within the 5. We had a chance to do quick mentoring with 5, and one was a petty officer in uniform. So it was really good to talk to her and try to pass on, some of my wisdom and knowledge gained over my career, but also in the transition to out of uniform.
You broke a lot of new ground in that area, didn't you? I know
I did my best.
I put you on the spot, but you certainly did. So on that point of new hires and things like that, if you're a young person, a person in transition looking for a new place to work, I can tell you, you cannot find a better person to work with than Joanna Davies. So you should reach out, and Kinetic is certainly looking right now. Joanna, tell me, how was the show for you this year?
Oh, it's been a great show, and I love coming home. There are a number of reasons why I love the show. I grew up in Head of St. Margaret's Bay. I was in the Navy for a lot of my career here. So I have a vested interest in community engagement, developing the supply chains, helping small businesses, helping really technology and innovation and research in this area. So, coming here and engaging in that, and, having a CADA to help foster the interaction and gents like you who have, podcasts like this that really bring people together and get messages out. I think that's very important, because we can't talk amongst ourselves. We have to get, different groups together and have these conversations. And it's about helping people. That's, I'm all about doing the business for my company, but I'm also about, I will add on, what are you doing the next step? What is your plan? Not
Joanna,
just about.
Sorry for interrupting you. There's a lot of great Canadians in this room, and you're one of them. Passionate about this country. Hey,
Oh, there's no doubt about it. Joanna has dedicated her life to the service of this country, and that service before self runs deep in your family.
It does,
right? So you're to be celebrated for that. You're to be celebrated for your role in breaking new ground for women in this industry. And it's funny, I looked around DefSec this year, and there is a noticeable difference in the diversity of the group. Would you agree?
Yes, I do agree.
Yeah. And do you agree that you're a big part of making that happen?
Well, I don't know if I'm a big part, but it is a passion for me, as you said, to help bring people up and create, because with diversity comes strength. Diversity of background, diversity of thought, it creates better solutions for our customers.
You're right. Diversity is incredibly important. And being right is being right now. So you were ahead of the curve. Thank you for your contribution on that as well.
You're very welcome, Jerry. Yeah.
Well, that sounds great. It sounds like Kinetic is on the right track. They certainly got the right person in the seat right now.
Yeah.
And I wish you very much success personally. And I wish you much success in your company. And I'm sure that that's going to happen. We're certainly lucky to have you on the show yet again.
It's great to be here. I want to do it again next year, if not before.
100%.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.